Good evening. This is Walpole Conservation Commission meeting in person on January 14th, 2026. First hearing, Town of Walpole, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Conservation Commission Notice of Intent / Land Disturbance Permit in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw, and Stormwater and Erosion Control Management Bylaw. Notice hereby given the intent of Toll Brothers, Inc. to construct proposed 67 residential units, utilities, site grading, roadway, and stormwater management located at 919 East Street, map 25, lot 233, 234, 235, 244, 245, 246, 247, 248, and 250, within the bordering land subject to flooding and riverfront area to Springbrook, and 40,000 square feet plus land disturbance. Application and plans may be viewed at the Conservation Commission Office, Room 212, 135 School Street, or at www.walpole-ma.gov/Conservation Commission. Public hearing in the above matter will be held in person, Walpole Town Hall, FinCom Room 135 School Street, November 12th, 2025, 7:10 p.m. All interested person requested to be present. Hearing has been opened and continued. Before we start with the applicant, just for those who are interested in perhaps participating in this discussion, the applicant will make a presentation. We'll go through the commission with any questions or comments and then open it up to the public. We ask you to go up to the microphone since this is on the community television, and identify yourself and also sign in. Oh, okay, representing the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jeff Heidelberg from Toll Brothers. With me is Matt Ashley from Bowler Engineering and Richard Kirby from LEC Environmental. We gave you guys a brief introduction to the project at the last hearing. It was re-noticed due to some abutter notifications that didn't go out. Since then, we've responded to numerous comments that came in from both the town engineer, town planner, your agent, as well as others. And so we have some revisions since that last presentation, and I'm going to let Matt Ashley speak to those, as well as Richard Kirby. So with that, I'll let you guys take it.
If you're referring to plans, would you let us know what sheet you're referring to?
Of course. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rich Kirby from LEC Environmental, and we are going to start on sheet C201, which is the sheet that's before you and the sheet that is on the screen. This is a just over 4-acre parcel property in the center of town. It's comprised of 9 parcels along East Street, Main Street, Maple Street, and School Street. You can see the outline of the property here. And it currently contains a variety of residential and commercial development, along with a funeral home along Main Street over here. Resource areas associated with this property include Springbrook, which is located across or south of East Street. And then there is bordering land subject to flooding that extends to elevation 139.5, and it just occurs along a portion of East Street. That's important because there are sections here of East Street and Main Street that will be repaved after utility installation. And those are highlighted in or shaded here in dark gray, with the darker portion of East Street, the portion where bordering land subject to flooding occurs. Those elevations will be brought back up to existing grade. There's no change in elevation proposed within the floodplain, and therefore no change in the flood storage capacity of the floodplain. Moving on to the next sheet. This one? Or turn it around? Oh, okay, great. This is sheet C301. And 301 is also the sheet that's up there on the screen. What we're proposing is a 67-unit development on the 4-acre parcel. It's comprised of 8 buildings and a series of roadways. we have Road A, which will provide access through the site from East Street to Main Street. The roadways will be 24 feet wide. We also have Road C and Road B, which are sort of dead-end streets to provide access to the buildings that are located along those. Each unit will have 1 or 2 car garages associated with them, access provided from the roadways. We are proposing some site grading on the property in order to accommodate development. There's a bit of a cut and fill. There's up to 3 feet of fill, roughly, and up to 8 feet of cut. And the largest cuts are in large part from the stormwater basins that are proposed on the property. Resource areas associated with the development that are going to be altered include, again, the bordering land subject to flooding, which is 1,061 square feet. And we also have previously developed riverfront area where, under existing conditions, we have structures, lawn, landscaping, driveways, things like that. Portions of that previously developed riverfront area are considered degraded. With the proposed development, we have a portion of the southernmost building, a portion of Road A, and a very small portion of this access over here that are within the riverfront area that will be considered degraded. Overall, there's a net reduction in the degraded riverfront area by roughly 2,800 square feet. So we are improving the riverfront area by decreasing the amount of degraded riverfront area in that zone. Additionally, we're also improving significantly the stormwater management measures on the site. Matt's going to talk a little bit about the stormwater management that we're proposing, but it far exceeds the state regulations and the state requirements in an effort to obviously meet your local requirements. With that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Matt to talk a little bit more about the stormwater management infrastructure, the erosion control plan, and the landscape plan.
Thanks, Rich. Matt Ashley with Bowler. We are now on C402 drainage plan. It'd be better if I stand over here for you guys.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So we are proposing a fully state and local compliant stormwater system out here through various BMP measures. Specifically, we have a combination of surface basins, subsurface basins, grass swales, water quality units to meet all of the state's specific requirements in the stormwater checklist. Additionally, we have been working very closely with the town engineer, Carl, to provide above and beyond that. So essentially, not only do we reduce peak flows for the development, we are reducing volume and containing the 100-year storm on site with the NOAA plus numbers as well. So very conservative stormwater design. But essentially, the high point of the site is located kind of right at the corner on this road B right here and flows down either directions. This half of the development will go down to a surface basin located out between, behind units 1 through 8. This portion over here is a mix of going to a subsurface basin located behind units 9 through 15. And then a couple more subsurface basins and landscapes underneath the fire access roads. And then the bulk of the stormwater is being contained in this surface basin up front, adjacent to East Street and the units 16 through 19. Also, generally consistent with the town's regulation, we came up with a construction phasing plan, is what I'm going to call it, a more erosion control plan, excuse me, if I can find it. It's gonna be 801, if you wanna get there ahead of me.
Is that number?
801.
Yep. So the general intent of the construction sequencing out here is the site is going to be demoed from what's out there, the existing structures that Rich talked about, and rough graded and padded essentially out there. And in doing so, in that initial, we're going to set up temporary sediment basins throughout the site. Like I mentioned, this is kind of the high point here. So everything, temporary sediment basins on either side here. They will rough in the surface basins during this time, not bring them all the way down to final grade, which is consistent during construction. And then the next page on C802 will be the next phase here. So site is rough graded. And then utilities and roadway infrastructure will go in. And the beginning of the first unit right up on East Street will be put in as well, kind of as the gateway to the development. Additionally, with the sales trailer kind of located central there as well. Additionally, and working with the town, there was some additional erosion control measures. They wanted us to put in essentially a berm located around the site. So you'll see that there as additional measures, along with your typical catch basins in the roadway will have silt sacks. The driveway entrance will have a gravel area to reduce sediment getting out into the roadway. Additionally, it was noted to have an extra barrier go across the driveway if there's going to be a large storm event predicted in the forecast, along with removing the silt sacks so those don't get clogged up. And then the last item here, 803, is just the build out of the remaining infrastructure and housing and units. And then, upon completion, all the sediment basins will be turned into final stormwater basins removed. Also making note not to stockpile anything on those areas that had the potential to reduce infiltration. Moving over to landscape briefly here. L101, located kind of towards the end of the set. So Toll Brothers is proposing a pretty robust landscaping plan. Kind of had minimal comments going through this. I don't see that often when we produce landscaping plans, but essentially there'll be over 1,000 plantings throughout the development, 53 canopy trees, over 200 evergreen trees, over 20 ornamental trees, 250 shrubs, 76 grasses, lots of ground cover, and even more perennials. So the real focus on the landscaping package from initial feedback was the perimeter of the site, which you'll see is pretty heavy. Kind of the entryway into the development, a real sense of arrival on either side with the landscaping, and then along the frontage as well. And then doorway entrances too have a pretty robust landscaping plan as well. Addition to that, we are proposing it's like a low wall down there, kind of ornamental wall. Portion of it is actually used for retaining. Another portion of it is just kind of like a raised knee wall, kind of stone. Again, to create a nice sense of arrival when you get here. And then just to recap some of the updates that we did from all the comments that we had, kind of talked about it, the erosion control plan that I walked through with sequencing and what we plan to do there. Some additional detailing on the riverfront area, which Rich talked about. It was requested to add dog waste stations throughout the development. So we kind of added 2 different ones throughout here, kind of at equal points on the development. So located right here, kind of near these visitor spots, near the entrance, and then a secondary one out back here, kind of at the corner. Snow storage was added and detailed to the plan on the site plan. I believe I talked about trash handling, but happy to talk about that briefly again. There is no central trash area. Every unit here will have their own bins located within their garage. They'll take it out during trash day, it'll get picked up, and they'll put it back in the garage when they're done. So everything is done internally to the house, and it won't be stored outside at all. I think that was largely it for the big updates from the comment letter. And then Carl responded today about the updates that we made to his comments. His words, not mine, it's just in general comments were thoroughly addressed. We do still have a handful of items that we're working through with him and the town, but largely brought his list significantly down, which I was very happy to see. With that, we'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Good, thank you. Landis?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so there was a letter submitted by the town engineer. I don't think you have to read all items unless you want to, but it was summarized that most of the items that were brought forward early on have been addressed. There's a few things that need to be addressed on the plan, which is listed in his letter. There's a couple items that he included in his letter that I had also asked to be fixed with the operation maintenance plan, including an annual report form, so it could be submitted to Conservation Commission each year. And then the last item was or one of the other outstanding items, which is in his letter, number 18, is the off-site mitigation that we were asking for to relieve a stormwater issue, which is across from the new development. So I don't know if this is the letter. Those are pretty much my comments at this point. I know you're going before the planning board tomorrow night, and I think it's preferable that we continue this until you work out the final plan, deal with the final revisions, and go through the planning board again, and maybe resolve the off-site mitigation. But those are the only comments I have at this point.
Okay, so you commented on pertinent issues from town engineer's letter.
Yeah,
Was
more or
there-
less. I think there's just a few items that need to be addressed, but nothing major.
Okay, so, Julie, any questions,
I
comments?
just have one question about during the construction stage and the trucks and all that moving around, you have that kind of, any dust or dirt that's all like gonna be set up with the barriers and all that ahead of time? That'll take care of any of that, you don't have to like wash off the trucks or do anything like that there, or have anything like that?
So we'll have dust suppression would be necessary
Yeah.
when there's open areas of dirt. And then there would be, concrete wash if,
Okay.
when we're pouring for slabs,
Right,
as you typically would.
yeah,
So yeah, there are some items there that are self-contained on the site that will be
Okay.
taken care of for dust control and for management of, transporting sediment offsite.
Could
okay,
you use
thank
the
you.
microphone, please? when
Sorry.
you-
Thank you.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, Jessica,
No questions.
Emilio,
Came in a little late, so I don't have any questions right now.
okay, Al?
I've got a couple of questions. When I studied the drainage stormwater system, I'm not clear on how you're cleaning the stormwater at catch basins. I'm not clear on if we have a large storm, say 4 inches, and the retention basins fill up, when they fill up, where do they overflow to? Or do they just flood the place? So those are two things that I'm not clear on from the plan as I saw it.
Wanna address
Through the
that?
chair, if I may address. Good questions. Just gonna talk on 402, if you wanna follow along here. So the stormwater management system that's designed here, per the direction of the town engineer, needed to contain up to the 100-year storm event, which is not typical for a stormwater management system for site development here in Massachusetts.
How many inches is that?
I forget the exact amount. I believe it's between 8 and 9 inches for a 100-year storm here in town. That sound about right?
Based on NOAA, so
Yeah.
based on NOAA.
But, fair question. I get asked every day about what if, something happens and where's the water gonna go, right? So, everything essentially up here works out to, this large stormwater basin here. And we do have a emergency overflow weir, with, riprap line. Again, it's not calculated to activate, all the way up to the 100-year storm, but it is there, in case it does, water does need an outlet, which will go out into the roadway. But if we're having that much rain, I suspect that the roadway will have some water as well. The other basins here, again, they're all designed to contain the 100-year storm, but the lowest outlet points are these catch basins kind of by the roadways. Again, so those would back up and come out that way. Again, that's a extremely large storm event, but we did look at that, at what would happen in those scenarios. There was another question, I believe, and I'm sorry, I forgot it.
Method of cleaning stormwater at the catch basins.
Absolutely. So in the back of our drainage report, there is a full O&M plan for what we recommend for cleaning. So for the catch basins, it's inspections every 6 months. And then when there's a certain amount of sediment that is measured within those catch basins, they will get vacked out or cleaned out in some manner and removed. So it's just water at the bottom again.
That doesn't explain where is the, how much of the oil and other trash is collected there?
Yeah.
And what's the device you're going to use?
Yeah, I think the final device that could be used will ultimately on the maintenance company that gets contracted for this. Historically, what we've seen, there are sumps and hoods in these catch basins, so trash will float on top of the water. The hood will make sure the pipe is submerged so the trash doesn't get into the pipe network. And oil will float on top of the water. So in that scenario, typically a vac truck will come in and vacuum that all up into a tank and take it off site and dispose of
That doesn't
appropriately.
tell me who the manufacturer is and what device. There are several devices on the market. I'd like to know which one you're choosing.
Good question. I believe our detail specifies a device or an approved equal that the contractor should be using.
An approved device. What approved device? You're not getting it.
Maybe we could have a special condition that requires us or requires Toll to notify the Conservation Commission of the actual apparatus that's gonna be used.
You mean the type of machine that's gonna clean the catch basins?
No,
Okay, so just clarify what you need, Al.
there are several different catch
Brands.
basin designs,
Okay,
oil water separators. There are several of them on the market.
and you wanna see the
And
detail.
it's usually specified on the plan what one they're going to use.
So you wanna see the detail of the catch basins?
Okay, apologies, I misunderstood the question. We do have the specified product detailed on our construction details in the C900 series.
C900.
Carl was very specific about making sure this was on here, probably a typical comment. C905.
C905.
So we're proposing a storm scepter, water quality unit, manufactured by Contact.
Which detail is that on the plan? Is that the bottom right?
It's all of them.
All
We
of them,
detailed out
okay.
every single one that we have on site specifically at direction of the comment letter we received.
Okay, so you're gonna use a storm scepter on all locations that require it, huh?
Yes.
Okay. That's an acceptable brand, manufacturer that does the job.
Good question. Apologies for my misunderstanding.
It's changed its name several times, but,
Yeah.
okay. I'll accept that as an answer.
Anything else, Al?
Pardon?
Anything else?
No, that's my main concern. You know, it's a crowded site, and they're gonna have a lot of stormwater to take care of.
Right, and Al, just to kind of piggyback on your question with the O and M, one of the items that's in the new letter is the O and M has a lot of language about cleaning out which BMP, but also requested a form so that it can be documented what their annual review of each of these BMPs are and what they've done, and that be sent to the Conservation Commission. So I would
Good.
assume that's be forthcoming. So what we do with most sites, they don't always get us that, but I'm trying to follow through, and if we have this annual form that's submitted, it'd be easier to check on, because I agree, it's done really well up front, but if it's not maintained, it doesn't last.
Okay, so, I consider Toll Brothers a reputable company, and they certainly have plenty of experience. I'm not happy with what the overflow from the retention basins is just gonna let it go out on the street. Could wash the street away or whatever.
But just after it'll hold the 100-year storm event, and that's based on the NOAA rainfall.
Okay,
Yeah, so if we get to a 100-year storm event, Springbrook may be
We're all in
also
trouble.
overflowing.
Yeah.
okay.
Keep in mind.
One last comment just to really nail this point home too. We also have a foot of freeboard designed in our basins as well. So even above the 100-year, we still have more storage.
We did go over that with the town engineer.
Okay. Okay.
Betsy?
Yeah, okay, so I know you've got further to do with the planning board, so maybe we're not talking about this tonight, but improvement to the Springbrook riverfront is important, and I don't think just some plantings, which were gonna happen anyway to show an entrance, do it. So I actually am in favor of something to do with the storm scepter that is not handling runoff properly in front of Springbrook should be included.
I may have missed it earlier, but is this maintained as a private development?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so there'll be a homeowners association,
That's correct.
okay, and those are the ones, the association is responsible for maintaining the structures that,
Raccoon infestation, they've had, I don't know if this is the right place to address it, but they've had people out to address the rodent issue, but mainly raccoons. Is that somebody, should I address that tomorrow night? Yeah, I think we all love raccoons at our house. Come on, 6 units in our place.
problem, have you checked with the animal control officer?
I have not, but there's been a company that's been out, and they, we had contacted them as a condo collective, and they said that that's a big issue over there.
You may, if the, completed. So, from a Conservation Commission is concerned with the mitigation, what you are intending to do for mitigation. So we would like that addressed at some point. So we will continue the hearing. Now, Are you in any big rush?
We're always in a rush.
Yeah, I know what, but you've
so-
got other hearings to
Yeah.
go through.
Correct.
I would recommend that we continue the hearing to March 25th. Now, that presents a hardship for you. I don't know if you're, how long your planning board process may take.
Is it possible to continue to the second hearing in February?
Okay. That would,
Well,
And if we're not done, we can ask,
Then
request
you
another.
could ask for another continuance, yeah. We're working a little bit on just making sure we have a quorum throughout the process.
Yep.
I think we had, how many people who were already down? I don't know, there might be, is it just Jack? Yeah, is it just Jack? Okay.
Who was not here last time? Just Jack.
Yeah,
just
so,
me.
yeah, so the
Okay.
chairman didn't attend
Although I
last
don't see
meeting.
Bailey here right now, so,
Bailey's not here
Correct, I have
tonight.
my notes.
Yeah, and,
I will be away,
Oh, you'll be away.
so
Okay.
the second meeting in March.
All right.
so,
If Bailey is here, will she have an opportunity to review the minutes and sign the
yeah,
document or?
she has to watch the video.
Right.
So knowing all that, you could continue to February and then see how everything is going and then.
Yeah,
maybe-
if we're not complete at that point with the planning board, we'd request a continuance,
okay,
if that's
okay,
acceptable.
good enough, thank you. Someone make a motion to continue the hearing till, what was that, February what?
25th.
February 25th at 7 o'clock.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
600.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Put that over there, Jack.
Okay.
I like it. Does it make the day go by faster?
Okay. Okay. Public hearing, Town of Walpole, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Conservation Commission Notice of Intent. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw, notice hereby given the intent of Louis Petrosi, Wall Street Development Corp., to construct 15 proposed single-family homes with driveway, stormwater management, utilities, and site grading located at 9 Pinnacle Drive, map 19, lot 183, 184, and 183-2, 183-3, within wetland resource areas including 200 feet of the Neponset River. Application and plans may be viewed at the Conservation Commission Office, Room 212, 135 School Street, or at www.walpole-ma.gov/Conservation Commission. Public hearing, the above matter will be held in person at the Walpole Town Hall, FinCom Room, 135 School Street, April 9th, 2025, at 7:30 PM. All interested persons requested to be present. Hearing's been opened and continued. We have a letter from the applicant in here. This is from Mr. Petrosi on January 14th. Attached for filing related to notice of intent for Pinnacle Point of the following reports. Ecotech, two reports from Ecotech. Wall Street apologized for not having this information available for review prior to tonight's meeting with the commission. Hard copies of the Ecotech reports will be delivered Commission office on Thursday. In light of a conversation today and the possibility that the chairman may not wish to discuss the revised plan and reports filed today, please accept this email as a formal request to continue the public hearing on this matter until January 28th, 2026, at 7:05 PM. In addition, in the event of additional peer review is required, it would be appreciated. You would advise if additional funds are required to fund the additional services of the peer reviewer. Okay. We
Mr.
need
Chairman,
to,
if I could just clarify, so the conversation with Mr. Pedrosi was that he had, at the last hearing, it was an agreement that he would submit his revised plans by January 6th and get them both to us and the peer reviewer, as well as the additional information from Echo Tech. And nothing was filed, we received no revised plans. And then today he came in with new plans, and a couple of days ago, he's sent an email saying he was gonna bring the plans to the commission to present for discussion. And I notified him that under our bylaw, we require revised plans to be submitted 5 days prior to a hearing. So it would be up to the chair to accept any presentation of new plans. Just want to clarify that.
What was the thing about Thursday, though? What's?
he's bringing in the revised plans and
Hard
whatever
copies
else
tomorrow.
Thursday. We'll see what happens. But it's still, I think the main point here is that he has agreed to provide additional peer review. So we need to, when we get that information, the change in his plans, to Beals and Thomas, who started the peer review, and get a quote from them on continuing their peer review. And I think it should include after their review, a meeting that Beals and Thomas would make their presentation before the commission. So it would be another visit by the peer review to the commission and at a meeting, in addition to whatever their time is required to do the review and write a report. So, with respect to his request for January 28th, I would say get his information in, and because of quorum issues, I would say we continue this until March 25th. Is that okay?
It's pending quorum issues, right? I mean, it's not,
Well,
it's not, we
we're-
don't have quorum issues immediately,
We have
Potential.
potential
potential
quorum
quorum
issues,
issues, yeah.
not,
Awesome. Awesome.
If that's what the commission wants to do, then.
well, okay, isn't there something like it's up to the applicant? I mean, so this has to be explained to him?
Well, it's for quorum purposes.
I know, but you have to explain it.
That
to him.
explains it,
Oh, okay, all right,
yeah.
but give him a chance to
Well,
regroup and decide.
Who else is, I don't know, I don't think I've. How many do we have right now that are,
In the folder,
in here? This is. Okay, so, you missed one,
Yeah, but
although
Julie's.
this says no discussion, so does that count?
Oh, does no discussion count? So I
Doesn't
haven't
count.
missed one.
You haven't missed one. We
Okay,
got-
good.
Okay. What's this, not applicable, no discussion, okay.
So circle
None.
the ones
So
that
is-
are applicable.
Okay, so we've got
Bailey,
Bailey and
Jessica,
and Julie.
And Bailey, but see,
And-
Bailey's missed two.
No, Bailey's missed one.
No,
Oh.
it says Belcher and Zimba.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
see over here, yeah. Okay, so we're down, so both Julie and Bailey are out,
Are they? No.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yes, two. This was presentation, yeah. So Julie is out and Bailey is out
Okay,
right
those are the,
now. So we're down,
but let's cross out the ones that are not applicable, because that's just confusing us.
well, don't, just circle it or however
Okay,
you
So this
We
is,
need the story here.
okay.
All right,
and-
so we're down, I still say, in order to maintain as many as we can, because I expect this hearing will continue for more than one additional hearing. Make sense? Okay. Because they can get their drawings in, they can get their comments from Beals and Thomas, and that could be resolved as they did after the last set of review. That would be resolved through a Zoom meeting with the applicant and Beals and Thomas and you.
If there was items that, yeah, needed to be,
Yeah.
A quorum is 4, right?
4.
Okay.
So
So Jessica, you can't miss any more.
Jessica's missed one, yeah.
Yeah, but Bailey and Julie are
Yep.
essentially,
We're busy.
oh, I know, but it just means you can't
It's
discuss.
just
You can't dis,
we
you can't-
need to maintain
we need to have 4 people.
4
that-
people
know.
to sign the paperwork, so. That's my suggestion. Anybody want to make
okay, but it is ultimately up to the applicant, so he should be shown not this, which
I'm
is,
just trying to refresh my memory on this, even though I did reread it today, but my memory is not.
in other words, it's a potential pending problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't missed any yet, Jack, right?
No.
So you would be, Jack is gonna miss
That'd be
one,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Down to 5 now.
We're down to 5.
Let's, checking the, what happens if we don't have the proper attendance at all these hearings?
Well, if you don't have a quorum at the vote, it could be appealed.
Okay,
Appeal to where?
Yes, appealed, Stevie.
Oh.
okay. Okay, that's my suggestion. Anybody want to make another suggestion?
Don't we have to lay it out to the applicant and ask him what he wants to
Well, he's
do?
not here.
No, but I mean, lay it
Well,
out.
he requested January 28th. I don't know if we'd have in 2 weeks, because the Beals and Thomas hasn't seen it yet. We don't have a price from them yet.
So maybe we just go for it in January 28th, and it's probably continued again, no discussion.
Can you just table this for a minute, you can move on, let me
Yeah.
just double check the regulations. I should really have, I should bring my copy, so I'll have to look at the phone. Are they? They are not. The wetlands protection act regulations.
Okay, we'll just table this for the moment, and we'll get back to it after we complete. What have we got next here?
Allen Pond.
Allen Pond. Where is this Allen? This Allen Pond here?
Here we go.
Okay. Public hearing notice, Town of Walpole, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Conservation Commission, notice of intent. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act and Walpole Wetlands Protection Bylaw. Notice hereby given the intent of the Town of Walpole to construct proposed dam rehabilitation located at the Allen Pond Dam, Washington Street. Map 34, 42, 42, Lot 1, 48, 93, and 94, within the wetland resource areas and buffer zone.
Oh, thank you.
The application and plans may be viewed at the Conservation Commission Office, Room 212, 135 School Street, or at
I'll
www.walpole-ma.gov.
share with him.
Conservation Commission. Public hearing in the above matter will be held in person at the Walpole Town Hall, Room 135 School Street, January 14th, 2026, 7:10 PM. All interested person requested to be present. Okay. This is Alan Dale. Okay, representing the applicant.
Good evening. To and through you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to present tonight the Notice of Intent application for the Allen Multipurpose Dam Rehabilitation Project. My name is Adrienne Lennon. I'm an environmental scientist at Par Corporation, and with me tonight is Victor Dulick, who's the project engineer also at Par Corporation, representing the town of Walpole on this large public works project near water resources. So we know already that there is no DEP file number for the project, and so we're anticipating, obviously, the project will be continued. We're not in a rush tonight and happy to go through all the mechanics of this project. It is a large public works project, and there are a significant number of resource areas that are going to be impacted by it, so happy to answer your questions as they come up. I think first, we'll turn it over to Victor and have him actually talk about the project itself and the dam. And then I'll come back around and walk you through all of the resource areas and how they're going to be altered for the purpose of rehabilitating the dam. So Victor, you want to go ahead?
Yep. Good evening, folks. My name is Victor Dulig from Par Corporation. I'm the design engineer for this project. This is Allen Dam to start with. It's off of Washington Street near Stone Street. It's right next to the Walpole Country Club right here. You see our north arrows over there. So how this project came about is the Allen Dam was built around the 80s and it's past its useful life. So the federal government commissioned to reevaluate the dam structure to see if it meets current federal and state criteria, and it still meets its purpose. So based on those studies that were done by another company, they found that based on current federal criteria, first, the dam does not hold the storm event that is required for a high hazard structure. Secondly, they found that when this auxiliary spillway activates, it erodes so that it breaches the dam. Our phase is to try to rehabilitate that. So let me just pull up this proposed conditions plan real quick. So the first thing we have to do is to make sure that the pond contains the water associated with that federal design criteria, which is the what they call the freeboard hydrograph, which turns out to be the probable maximum precipitation flood.
And what sheet are you on?
Oh, sorry.
Is that one that you-
We're on sheet 7 for the proposed site plan.
That's in the big set and what you handed out tonight?
Yes, it's in the big set and what we handed out tonight. So what we handed out tonight is just a copy of what we have for poster boards, but the plan set is the plan set. So.
Just, do you want to point out that we're missing some crucial information on this before he gets too far along?
No, no.
Because we're
Go.
following along with, okay.
So the first thing is we have to make sure that the pond holds the amount of precipitation that's needed for that PMP. So we're raising the dam a little less than 2 feet. Another portion of that is because we're raising the dam, we have to meet slope stability requirements on the downstream slope. So the slope has to be buttressed out towards the downstream side because we're raising that dam. Additionally, the perforations of the tow drain, the internal drain structure inside the dam do not meet federal requirements right now. So we're also proposing to dig that out and replace it with a new tow drain that would meet federal requirements. And I can show you a section of that in a bit, but moving forward to this auxiliary spillway. So this auxiliary spillway is designed to, as an emergency flow structure during the, on any storm event above the 100-year storm. Because it was found that it's very erodible, we are covering it with articulated concrete blocks, which are basically concrete pavers, and we're attaching a terminal structure a discharge structure at the end of the auxiliary spillway to dissipate the high energy flows when this gets activated before it discharges downstream and causes more damage. So that portion is that. Moving back to the internal drain structure, I have this section for you folks. So as you can see, we're raising it 2 feet, but to maintain slope stability, we're going to need a 3.5 to 1 slope that buttresses outward to the downstream slope. So that's a little shy of probably around 20 feet towards the downstream slope. The orange is what we're filling in addition to the current geometry of the dam. The green stuff is what we're, the green that's shown here is what we're excavating existing to the dam to get to that tow drain and replace it. Okay. Additional impacts because of that dam raising that buttress is there's an existing concrete structure right here. This is the primary spillway where regular flows flow into and out to Spring Brook. The concrete structure, because we're buttressing the slope, has to get pushed further. It's a very old concrete structure. We can't just pick it up and move it without significant damage, so we're planning on demolishing the existing structure, extending the pipe, and replacing it with a new concrete structure at the new toe of the dam. In addition to that, we are adding an access bridge towards the inlet of the dam, so it's easier to control, to access the controls and maintain the flows of the impoundment and do maintenance at the inlet. Right now, there's no access bridge over there, so I think the folks at the town have to take a boat, small boat, to access those controls at the moment. In addition to that, current dam safety regulations guidelines recommends that we remove trees 20 feet from the dam embankment portion. So there's a lot of tree clearing associated with this at the downstream toe right here, all the way across over there. And because this acts as a barrier for debris to get stuck when this tries to activate, we're gonna have to clear the trees all over this portion as well. But other than that, that is the proposed conditions currently designed for the dam. So, yeah, give it to Adrian for the resource impacts.
Get that mic off, okay. So, before I begin, I just want you to know in your packet, we did provide you with the wetland resource delineation with all of the trees removed from the plan because we did get feedback that made it hard to read. We have to be able to represent that alteration because it is a significant amount of canopy that will be lost, but for the purpose of this discussion, I think it's a lot more helpful to just see that delineation layer without the trees in place. So, you know, we've already talked a little bit about the limit of work here. This outline is produced by GIS and it directs the wetlands survey. So we did get comments back that crosses over into parcels on either side of the dam. That's just specific to the geometry of the dam and where the wetland surveyor will have to look for resources to flag, not the construction activities themselves. So walking through the wetland resources delineation. The initial delineation was conducted by another firm, which is responsible for the federal permitting on this project. And PAR went out and checked the delineation flags, made one small change, which I'll point out as I discuss this, and also cited a good location for the replication area that's going to be required due to the alteration of wetlands. So beginning on the northern portion of the dam is sort of the easiest resource area to see. This is a flagged bordering vegetated wetland.
Are you on the first or second one of these?
I am on the first, or I'm on the second. Let's see,
On the backside of
yeah, on the backside. There you go, yeah. So beginning in the north, you have this bordering vegetated wetland that's flagged. And it works its way up to what was previous embankments related to an access way to the dam. And then on the other side of that, also a second in green flags bordering vegetated wetland. You'll see there's a dotted red line just to the outside, kind of squaring that off. And those are the flags that we altered when PAR went back outside and checked the flags for the site. We saw that the resource area was actually bigger than it was initially flagged. So that's the new expanded resource area. In the center of that is Spring Brook, which is the downstream portion, riverfront area, and also land underwater to be altered because we're going to be installing that extended primary spillway. You'll see in yellow, there's the buffer zone. And also in purple, we have buffer zone around the outside. Green flags encircled in orange, also along Washington Street, is an isolated vegetated wetland. And then working the way up the spillway, this is somewhat of a complicated wetland complex where from the water's edge here at the bottom, you'll see there's a small bordering vegetated wetland that was flagged. And it has a spring connection, a intermittent connection to a secondary bordering vegetated wetland that's somewhat in. We think that the water generally flows from the pond in and out. And then in addition to that, there's another small depression, and although we did not find hydric soils there, we do think, in a flood event, it likely backfills onto this side, and that's why we identified it as a good location for the wetland replication area, because there's already some hydrology moving through that kind of corridor, and also we know we need to alter the new primary spill or new secondary spillway, so it's a good use of that land as far as the replication purposes. So with that, I think actually before I go on to this piece, we'll talk.
There's an intermittent stream that connects to this green circle.
Yeah, so there's an intermittent stream. Like I said, we saw some flow here between these two at the bottom. There's an outlet, and we think it probably would flow up and through just based on the topography of the site right there, and also the way the vegetation has traveled. There's some invasive species up in this top corner that really wouldn't have any other way to get up there if it wasn't traveling by water, and
That's why you have it labeled as bordering vegetated wetlands rather than isolated wetlands.
That's correct. Right. This is the plan. As it's presented, this is sheet 3, and this is the one we know we got feedback on. It has all the same wetland flags. They're numbered on this plan and also shows all of the trees. There are trees in the wetland, and there are trees throughout this area along the pond that are going to be removed as part of the dam design, just as Victor mentioned. We want to make sure we're really clear about that because it's not something that's regulated by the Wetlands Protection Act. However, it's definitely going to alter the landscape. So we don't want anybody to be surprised. Okay, now moving on to sheet 7. On sheet 7, you can clearly see where the alteration is planned for the dam. So as Victor was saying, the change in slope on the downstream side of the dam is going to actually require us to push the slope into these two bordering vegetative wetlands on either side. So you'll see in red, we've outlined this is the permanent impact to BVW to be filled. And then in the orange color here, right outside of it, is temporary impact, likely going to be used as part of the limit of disturbance for construction vehicle access as they're building that new dam grade, the 3-to-1 slope. In addition to that, there's small impacts to the land underwater. That's, again, related to the primary spillway. And no anticipated really impacts except for some temporary related to installing erosion controls and maintaining the site on the upstream side of the dam. So you'll see here, this is the shape generally of the proposed replication area. And the idea here, of course, is to connect it to the existing bordering vegetative wetland. And just as an aside, because I think the question will come up as far as the limit of work right here, we have this small shoreline section that's not included in the limit of work. And one of the reasons for that is that the geometry of the secondary spillway is exactly this. So the design follows this line right here. So we're trying not to impact more of the shoreline than we absolutely have to in this case. It's also true that there have been some archaeological fragments surveyed and discovered as part of the survey work for this site for the federal government review, and we're pending additional survey to understand a little bit more about what's there, but we know generally this is the site, so we tried to give it as much space as possible without impacting it. So that is the proposed impacts here to the site. The project is going to be subject to a water quality certification. It is a limited project under the Wetlands Protection Act, so the fill is allowable because we are maintaining an existing dam. However, we do need to mitigate for a certain amount of the wetland to be impacted for the water quality certification. So the replication plan here shows something of a basin on the right against the dam structure itself, and there will be some very low plantings installed in that basin for the purpose of maintaining the spillway design requirements, which, just as Victor said, we're not allowed to replant trees. We have to maintain a certain height of the vegetation, so we had to choose plants that were going to continue to be small so that they would not become an obstruction in the event that the spillway is activated. And then as we're moving out, we have these cluster plantings all set in 3 that are intended to try to, encourage wetland species to grow and also connect to that bordering vegetated wetland here. This whole portion outside is going to have to be maintained with conservation seed mix. And part of the mitigation includes the removal of a small section of Japanese knotweed that's taken hold right here on the corner. We'd like to try to take that out as part of this so it doesn't have the opportunity to, really take hold and do a lot of damage on the shoreline with all of the earth work that's about to take place. So with that, we're happy to answer questions and go through any of the slides that you're looking for. And we're looking forward to continuing, and we'd really like to come back on January 28th if possible.
Landis?
I thought that was a good presentation, and that helped with some of the issues that I was having, and when I went through the plans with Carl, trying to figure out what was happening, because I understand you had to have the tree layer, but the tree layer was obscuring a lot of the wetlands resource area boundaries, so it was really hard.
Yeah,
And it was
absolutely.
killing my eyes. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's hard. It is hard to read.
Where's the
It
line?
really is.
Trying
Yeah.
to follow the flags, and it was at, the scale was really hard to navigate as well. So what you submitted tonight, I think, definitely helps explain. So, this should be included in large set plans, especially yeah, I think this 7 really helps show where the permanent BVW impacts are and the temporary and land under water body. The only question I have is you don't have the riverfront impacts in your list.
I mean, it is definitely on Form 3, but I don't think it's separately called out on
Yeah, so
the
that was one of
plan.
the lines that it was really kind of a little hard to follow with all the other activity going on, the riverfront area line. It was also because the buffer zone and the resource area delineation was a lot lighter than everything else. It was kind of hard to follow, so that's why this is good. So I assume you're gonna have some riverfront impacts, but
Oh, yes, yes.
if that
I-
could be included.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we are planning to produce a supplemental package, so, happy to just take your feedback tonight, and then we'll resubmit additional plans. Our only request is that we'd like to be able to submit them as an addendum to the existing plan set and not renumber all of the plans, because the plans have to look a certain way for NRCS.
Right, understood. Yeah, I guess if it's more the wetlands protection permitting plans or however you want to
Yeah,
label
okay,
them,
sure.
there, since that's what you're getting here,
Right.
you need to direct your plans to, something like this. Again, I think is good, because it really shows the impacts in relation to the activity. It's a limited project, so it can be permitted, but we still need to account for all the different resource areas that are being impacted. Did you, on these plans, did you address the access? So I think both Carl and I, we weren't quite sure where the access was when you're coming off Washington Street. Access way.
The proposed. Yeah. Oh, no, the proposed. So currently, there are 2 access points to this area. There's one over here with a gate, with a swing gate, and then there's one clearing over here. Personally, I actually found the parking here much more safe coming in and out because it's a much larger area rather than backing up into Washington Street. We were kind of discussing it with Carl a couple of days ago, but this retaining wall can be pulled back so you can maintain access. Unfortunately, we do still need this terminal structure, so we're trying to figure out access over here, but this access will be maintained for construction and for future purposes. And with the tree clearing, it's going to be much better, and we can negotiate grades on if we need vehicle access or whatnot, but this is definitely still traversable by foot.
Access for maintenance. So if you're coming in this way, is there gonna be access along here to get to this rear part, or?
So right now, it's only a clearing. We're looking at the grades here. It's kind of steep. But after discussing with Carl, we may be able to modify the slope right here. So it's a much more gradual slope to the top of the dam, and you can access everywhere else from this access point.
And another question was with, I think the larger set plans, I can't remember what sheet you had, potential staging areas, and there was a bunch
Yes.
of them.
So on the big set we submitted previously, it's not there, but it is in this poster board in the 11 by 17s that we sent you. But we have these highlighted. So based on discussions, we're gonna try to make use of this kind of disposal area that they used for the construction of the dam.
Right, that's
Okay,
right.
So it's 6 on the set,
Sheet.
11 by
Yep.
17.
Yes, so we're gonna try to use this clearing in the auxiliary spillway as much as possible. This is kind of within the 100-year storm, but we're gonna try to use this temporarily as well. There's a larger section of the dam right here that we're gonna try to use, and then closer to the access point here, there's a couple of staging areas that we're gonna try to use over here in green.
So your plan is labeled potential staging areas?
Yes.
But you may or may not use all of them. I know when I was out there, there was just I think originally, was discussed clearing that whole first entrance and using as the staging area, and I was sort of objecting to that.
Correct.
To take all those mature pine trees as well, it's kind of the entrance to Allen Pond that you see as you're driving down Stone Street, and it's what people know as that area. So to have all those trees taken down for staging purposes seemed like a shame.
Yeah, understood. And we did pull that back so you can see we're maintaining all the trees over here that we discussed, and we're limiting it to 20 feet from the dam.
So you're going to use those because they're still labeled potential, or you are going to use them?
We're only gonna, we're potentially gonna use this small area here, but we're leaving the trees next to Washington Street, so you still get that buffer from the street.
Okay, so the other one near the access construction entrance, you're proposing to use, it's not just potential?
Yes, correct.
And then the other two areas, you're gonna use, even though you're labeled them potential,
Right. At the time that we were developing this plan set, there was some discussion about receiving some fill from another part of the town of Walpole, and so we were looking for, the largest laydown area that we could find. And now we know actually that apparently that fill has gone somewhere else. It's not going to be needed for the dam, but we're holding on to that footprint.
not gonna be used for the dam. It is going on site, but it's going further down.
Right, elsewhere.
Yeah,
Not related to this project anyways. It was intentionally,
Right, it was
originally it was discussed as
It was
being
gonna be
like,
up- Right.
It was
up
gonna
in
be
that-
over.
Really
that
part-
Longer
Right.
period.
right. So that's why, that footprint was selected, and now, we're holding on to that footprint for the purpose of, construction design and, giving the contractor an opportunity to turn around if they need to.
So you still want all the potential staging areas to be permitted under this permit, and then the contractor will use the areas that they feel like they need?
Correct.
That's right, in
That's the
green. That's
idea.
right.
Yep.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
That's it for now. There was a email that both Carl and I put together, different comments that I think was received, so there'll be revisions to the plan.
Okay. Julie?
No questions at this time?
Jessica?
None at this time.
The spillway, I'm a little confused how the spillway works, and can you show me kind of how it would flow, I guess, and how?
Yes. So we have two spillways for the project, for the site. There's this primary spillway pipe that has an inlet riser. It's basically a tube that connects to a pipe that goes through the dam. It's 24 inches coming into this larger riser for control, and it's 30. I believe it's 30 inches coming out to the toe of the dam. So that handles all of your regular flows from the dam. So this is usually very dry, and I don't think it's activated. When the 100-year storm happens and anything above that, this spillway will activate to relieve flow from the dam and prevent it from overtopping and eroding this embankment. So this will activate beyond the 100-year storm.
So it swings over to the right, is that how it would?
Yep. So the reason why we're clearing all these trees is it's supposed to take all of that emergency flood flows and take it from the impoundment all across over here and then into the downstream slope, so you maintain the integrity of the dam and it prevents that overtopping.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a concrete structure.
It's going to be like pavers. We debated putting loam on top of the pavers, but it's going to be a very well-drained structure to maintain that integrity when it activates. That we're kind of concerned that nothing will grow if we do even try to put loam and seed over there. Nothing will.
Is it like the one in Norwood, that the spillway that, no, kind of?
Okay, I was gonna mention that. This articulated cement blocks with steel cables holding them together. There's one that was installed at Ellis Pond,
Correct.
and it originally had a cover of 6 inches of loam, and nothing would grow because the base was concrete and dried out and cooked.
Yeah.
Okay, and it was also because of the wires sticking up here and there, difficult to mow. So all of the loam was removed and it's now bare articulated blocks, which has held up pretty well. And that was the second spillway from Millis Pond, like they're proposing here. And it has, as far as I know, it has never had to work because we controlled the gates at the main spillway and had a program where I held the key for several years, and the public works guys would get in the cage and change the elevation at the beginning of before a storm came to be. So there was always space available in the pond itself to handle the flow. And under 1A, there's the main spillway. There's a bridge with the water flowing through that eventually gets to Neponset. But where this articulated blocks led, there's another arched bridge under 1A that nobody knew about until I had the brush cleared and covered, and now it's been maintained as that second flow point. So it's good to have this second one here, and those articulated blocks I think would hold up, and probably they'd be better bare rather than with loam on them, because the loam will just wash off and clog up the system downstream.
Correct, yeah.
So having bare blocks, and occasionally there'd be a cable sticking up here and there, but that will work fine there.
Anything else, Emilio?
So that's what, is proposed here?
Yes.
Yeah, that, okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay. And the timeline for this project?
We're still working on the design for this. We're still working on some kind of design submissions over here. It kind of depends on permitting. We're still working on funding for the project, but depending on that timeline, we're not sure yet at the moment. So.
So, thank you.
Al, anything else?
No,
Okay, Betsy?
All right, so one comment and two questions. One is, last I looked, and I admit it was probably a year ago, there was a tree growing out of that control structure. A tree. What? Shrub. No, it was substantial. So making me think, I mean, I was surprised that this was one of our dangerous dams in town. I was like, how about just getting the tree out of the control structure for starters, and let's see if that improves anything. But, okay, it's one of our dangerous dams, I guess. So, two questions. The area is remarkably free of invasives, except for the little patch that you're gonna deal with, I'm glad you're going to. But really, I mean, we have so many places in town where you've got an open space, and it doesn't take long for it to happen. In fact, we have freshly made open spaces. Sometimes there'll be a development, and then they'll be like, oh, this is gonna be the open space, and in no time at all, it's just the nastiest place you could imagine. You'll probably be long gone. I wish there were some sort of stipulation somewhere that invasives have to be dealt with for X number of years until it stabilizes, because right now, there's actually like a wildflower meadow thing going there that's actually kind of nice, and it wouldn't take much for it to be ruined. You know, you leave and it's all kind of bare ground, or it's just the rudiments of some seed mix. So invasives are a concern. And then the third thing is, what kind of archaeological fragments? Native American?
No, we don't know. We think it's more like glass bottles.
Oh,
you know,
That would make some sense, because it used to be a wetland, a big old wetland.
more modern than
Yeah, okay.
not. We do have conservation seed mix. It is intended to be replaced as a wildflower because the dam does have to be mowed and maintained, either on a regular basis throughout the mowing season or a minimum twice a year.
Yeah.
So aside from the plantings that are associated with the replication area, everything else is ideally going to be either wildflower or it's going to be, grass.
That'd be great, because that's what we currently have. It just, there's a certain amount of time to monitor it, make sure it's taking and not turning into bittersweet and who knows what else. That's it.
Additionally, that shrub/tree we're hoping to take out as part of
Hoping to
this.
take it out.
We're going to leave it there.
Well,
Decorate it.
the bridge will help.
The bridge is gonna help, but I mean, to me, it's sort of like when I hear there's something wrong with the dam, that's the only thing that comes to mind. Everything else looks real solid to me, and the water is about 2 feet deep.
Correct. It's just the federal requirements are very stringent. I mean, we're designing for the PMP here from the hydrological perspective. And that what's driving that slope stability on the downstream and why it's so big is we're designing for the 10,000-year earthquake. It's just the federal requirements. So,
But keep that tree in there. Anyway, that's it.
What year storm is this designed for?
it's for the probable maximum flood.
Is that a 500 year, or is that?
I think it's-
How do
I
you
think it's
arrive at
the-
that?
My understanding, and I'm not a hydrological engineer at all by any means, but my understanding of it is it's the mathematical worst flood that you can get. So that's about, I believe that was 30 inches of rain.
Okay, and what is the present design for?
So it's just, I think the dam was built 50 years ago, and now that we have more data to support that PMP changes, so with new modeling and new calculations, we just found out that it needs to be raised a little less than 2 feet, so.
Okay.
But you might find it ironic when you go out and look at it, right?
It's not a lot of water, no, at the toe, and, besides the saturation at the bottom, there's artesian conditions at the bottom, it looks fine, but again, these extreme conditions that we're designing for, because this is a high hazard, which means there's a probable loss for life. The population at risk here was, I believe, 103. So based on the static breach, the design criteria is pretty stringent. So that's why there's a lot of things going on, even though at the normal pool conditions, Carl mentioned this spillway is never activated, but we're designing it to activate to the fullest. So
Okay.
that's why this is all happening.
Okay, if anyone has any questions or comments, please come up to the microphone and identify yourself for the record, and also use our sign-in sheet.
My name's Kathleen Brown. I live on Stone Street, right across from that blue steel, whatever that thing is called. I'm not an engineer. What effect will this have on my property across Washington Street? Because right now, when it's a heavy, heavy rain, the brook comes right up. It doesn't stay right in the brook. It comes up into our property. How is this going to affect us?
I think it's a net positive change for anything downstream. The first thing that we are trying to do is to prevent the risk of this dam breaching. The possibility of this dam breaching during a storm event when the floods are high is a much more greater impact than us just sending the flow gradually downstream. So I think it's a net positive from your property's perspective on just keeping the dam safe. That would be the alternative to, instead of overtopping, we would just send the flow that would still go downstream.
No. Okay, on this map where you have the yellow circle, is that going to be all cleared?
No.
No, as I say, I don't understand half of this stuff.
Sure, so
I mean, it was a great dam when they built it 50 years ago. I was there.
So I can show you, this is the wetland delineation. So
Right,
this right here is
okay, because I'm
referencing.
right there.
Right,
All right, where that goes across there, then that's the street that goes right, at my house is right in here, it doesn't even show with the trees.
right, I see it.
You want to use the,
This is just
excuse
referencing,
me.
yeah, I'll come back, I will, yep.
go with the-
This is just referencing
can see.
the location of the stream. So there's a buffer zone around
But
that.
that's the spillway.
Yep.
That's right, right.
Yep, that's exactly right,
okay.
the primary spillway.
There'll be water flowing past.
So she was asking this question, what is the yellow line here? And the yellow line is referencing the Springbrook stream. And then the discussion around tree removal,
Just regarding the question, you're not changing the size of the pipe, are you?
no.
No.
So there's still gonna be the same
Still gonna
flow.
flow
It will be the same flow, it will be a little longer because of the change in slope. But it's gonna be the same flow.
So, it's-
The
so
same flow rate will be coming
Past your
tomorrow
house.
as yesterday.
Right, so there's no change there.
because Clark's Pond is not gonna be affected, is it? Well, then further downstream is a pond, we still have Springbrook flowing along. We
That's
still
right.
have the pond looking like the pond. So I don't think it's gonna change anything in your backyard.
And it won't change the town's ability to control the flow.
Correct. In fact, it will, over time improve because you have new infrastructure in place.
And one more question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. As far as when the construction is going on, you're saying that, are you saying that right at the end of Stone Street, when you look across, that's where you're going to have most of the construction parked and stuff?
No. Most of the construction will be parked at the top of the secondary spillway. So
Oh,
you can see on this plan here. This is the area that we're
okay,
expecting them to use.
okay, up farther up.
Okay. This
towards
is,
Southwood.
this is going to be available probably because of, small vehicle parking.
You have to put it on the board just because.
Sure.
Your questions are also recorded, so
Sure.
people at home might be interested in the question as well. So can you see where she's pointing? Maybe turn the.
So here, maybe I stand on this side. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we anticipate most of the construction vehicles will be here, and most of the laydown area and storage will be taking place here at the top of the secondary spillway. This is continuing to be made available, largely so that, people who are coming to work at the site have a place to park.
Okay.
But we're not planning to remove any of the mature trees in that location.
Oh, good.
They'll be parking underneath the trees. We have to make something available to them so that they're not, driving their personal vehicles all the way up onto.
You don't want them lining up on
Right.
Washington Street.
Right, also true, right. So. Go ahead.
Yeah,
You're
good
through the
evening,
chair.
Mike.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Brian Teran, and I live in Washington Street, 1029. I'm literally the house next to Springbrook. And this topic is very important to me because it can affect my property. So you answered one of my questions, so I'm hoping that will be the case, that the stream or the flow of the water would not increase during or after the project. So that's very important to me. So that there wouldn't be the need of any erosion mitigations further, like after, beyond the pipe, if you want to call it.
No,
Because the stream, the flow is not increasing.
that's correct.
Got it. Now, you mentioned you will be removing some trees, which is, I truly enjoy those trees because I walk around with my son during the winter. It's an amazing view. But how far out would you guys be removing trees? Would you guys just remove all of them? Would you guys just leave some by the parking lot, or?
Sure, so let's look at this, maybe. You want to look at that one? Okay. So tree removal is bound by the limit of disturbance for the project. So you can see, I'm going to turn this a little for you. I hope that's okay.
What sheet
It's
are you
okay.
on?
Okay.
This is sheet 7.
Okay, they have a small
Okay.
version too.
The construction entrance here, we've marked it out as part of the limit of disturbance. And then you can see, this is where the grading change is going to take place. And then there's an area around it where trees will be removed. However, you are still going to have a significant buffer in that vegetated wetland of mature trees between the roadway and the downstream, where the downstream slope of the dam begins. So it's not, you're not going to be able to, it's not going to be like an open view of the dam from across the street, for example.
There is a cement structure, I don't know the terms, where the trees sticking out. That will remain, that will not be
No,
replaced?
that will be
Got it.
removed.
Got it, all right. And
Popular land.
there were no clear timelines around the starting of this project because there's funding, permitting, and all these other steps. In the event all those line up and projects, that you guys get a green light, in terms of traffic flow for trucks, machinery, traffic in general, because Washington Street's a very congested or very used road, how would that be affected? And maybe I'm just going way ahead. Are there
Sure.
plans
I
for
mean, we
that?
could try to answer the question. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily pertinent to the Wetlands Protection Act,
Got
but, the construction vehicles used for the dam rehabilitation project will be mobilized on site, and then there won't be a lot of reason for them to come off the site. What will be coming on and off the site will be personal vehicles for the people working on the machinery.
And fill trucks. We would need to import fill for
Right.
To raise it.
Right.
I'm assuming this project, once it gets the green light, would be conducted during a sort of low rain season.
There's no time of year restriction for the work. I think as long as the site's able to maintain stability, then the activities will proceed.
Right. The reason why I'm asking is because when it rains, when we get a considerable amount of rain, the flow increases dramatically, and I do get a lot of water on my backyard, right on my backyard. It becomes part of the stream in my backyard. So, again, I'm just concerned of any increase of the flow of the stream as a result of the project that would just be catastrophic for my property. I'll be just practically just selling my house without that.
Not as a result of this project. Yeah, we're ultimately, it's an improvement. We're trying to keep
will
the
make it
water
safer,
in.
for sure.
How is it gonna be an improvement, though? Because you're still, it's gonna be the same.
Same size pipe.
The same size pipe, the same flow, in the same rainstorm, past the same backyards.
I guess my perspective on the improvement is just the risk mitigation
No,
of the
no,
dam
no, but they're not
breach.
talking about that, yeah.
Right,
And by
right.
the way, if you pull
It's the
the
same.
tree out of that, is the flow gonna increase?
No,
Why
my
not?
understanding of why the riser is there is not for, it's actually at the same level as the auxiliary spillway. The weir at the top of it is at the same level of the auxiliary spillway. Historically, the auxiliary spillway hasn't activated yet. It only activates during the 100-year storm. So maybe you see a little bit more flow over there, but it's limited to that 36-inch pipe that's coming after the riser, so.
Yes, the normal flow out of on a normal rainstorm isn't gonna change.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Did you say that construction equipment and the construction employees will be parking off the street?
Hopefully there's enough clearing here, depending on how many guys and vehicles they have, there's enough clearing here that we can make that parking work, or, sorry, here. Make that parking work. Additionally, this space is still here, they'll be working mostly over here. They wouldn't need this access.
Not much room there,
Right, so,
and there's not much room when facing Stone Street.
Yeah, maybe five
People
cars.
use it, it doesn't take too many cars to fill up that little parking spot.
yeah.
Is that gonna be, what happens during construction as far as public access?
I think as far as public safety goes, we would have to close down the site during the work, yeah.
Okay. All right, so that should be somehow posted so the public is aware of that?
Yep.
Whenever it goes out to bid, that the contractor is aware of that. But you need to provide off-street parking for the workers.
Yep, good point. We will try to review it. Again, that we're trying to limit the tree clearing over here. There's a bunch of trees over here. And we're also trying to prevent the cars from getting into the workspace. So some creative phasing may be warranted for this project, or we're gonna have to
Depends how many
find
people you
more.
wind up having working on how many cars but you need to be able to provide so that they're not using Washington Street for parking.
Correct. I don't think that's gonna be the case, and we could provide provisions on the project for that to not happen, and be clear with the contractor that that's not gonna happen, but,
It should also be part of your contract, that all workers will have to use off-street parking, not parking along Washington Street.
Yep, understood. So it's a field job, so maybe a few excavators, few guys operate the excavators, plus a crew
Depends
to,
what you're-
yeah,
whether it's
so
just
maybe a little less
a
than,
couple people, or you wind up with a large contingent doing certain phases of this.
yep.
Okay.
So I just have one more question. So the area, the mow area, this area in here, brings this area in here. It's hard for me to, yeah, so right now it's wooded. So this is gonna be one of the main tree clearing areas, so.
That's
here,
correct.
All the area in here, which is going to have to be mowed in the future, is wooded now, so trees are gonna be taken down.
That's correct.
This area will change significantly. And then you'll have the replication area. Part of the replication area, I think, is in the open area, if I remember,
That's right.
the field area.
That's right. And the objective is, to revegetate it in a way that will still comply with dam safety
Yeah.
standards, but also allow the, secondary spillway to be
I want to make
activated.
sure this gentleman understood, because I think you were concerned with not just the trees along Washington Street, but the trees in the area, because you visited and walk around. So this area in here, the trees will be taken down. And that's because it's part of the flow area, and it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah, I
mowed
understand.
and
It'll
become
be-
more of a meadow.
It would definitely be a depressing view, but
It'll be different.
It'd be
It'll be different.
It's
Right.
beautiful, but.
Right.
And I know your property, because I've been out there.
I know.
As well, and it's a tricky property, because it has a stream and it has a floodplain, and then you have the wetlands to Clark's Pond behind your property. So,
Right.
yeah, you have a small area of upland for your house, so I understand.
Okay. Need to continue the hearing. Did you get a new set of drawings that you can read now? Have you gotten that?
Well, these are very helpful. They're going to make an addendum to the filing that we already have, which includes these clearer plans.
There's only one new sheet in that set, and that is the sheet without the trees. Everything else comes from the original plan set.
Can you clear it up so that the tree layer is not obscuring the wetlands layer?
Yep. Yep.
So these limited clearing points and everything are a requirement of USDA, is that?
That's correct.
why
But you can do a sheet that does not have those on there, so you can see what actually is going on with
Yeah.
wetland delineation.
Yeah, we're happy to do that, yeah.
This sheet is.
Yeah, we'll
That's-
provide you with a full size.
Good.
Yep.
I think you know where we're heading on this, so I look
Okay.
forward to see what you have.
So how long is it gonna take to get these changes done?
We've already made them, we just had a little fight with the plotter today. So- So we came with 11 by 17s.
So what date are you requesting to continue to?
To the 28th of January, please.
What else do we have?
We have two other,
28th, what do we got?
we have pretty much the same thing we had tonight. And it's also Sunset and Clarkson.
Right, it was 7 and the 7:05.
Okay, so you want to make it 7:10 or 7:15?
Yeah, 7:10.
7:10, okay, someone make a motion? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Zero zeros. January 28th
January
at
28th. 7:10.
7:10.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman and Commission, have a lovely evening. Thank you, Landis. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Didn't we just put Toll Brothers to the 28th as well, or did we not do that?
When they built that.
Uh-uh.
Toll Brothers is into February? Okay, fine. No, you're probably
Well,
right.
it's February 25th.
Okay, fine. Fine, you're right.
Okay.
Okay, you still have to continue,
We've got the Pinnacle. What's the
right, so
story
you're,
on that?
right, so I don't know why I was having a brain freeze, but Betsy is absolutely right, is so you have to continue to the consent of the applicant.
Right, but he
So-
should have it explained to him.
Well, so I would suggest that you continue it to what he
He
wanted,
requested January 28th.
January 28th. He doesn't have the material requested, then it gets
Right.
continued again.
Right,
We don't,
right.
or you, or, you open it to appeal, but if we don't have quorums, then you're open.
So we have 5 people that can, you know,
He does understand that you will not be back until March
I
25th.
don't know if he knows.
No, he does know.
He does.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay, so someone make a motion to continue the Pinnacle, 9 Pinnacle Drive until January 28th at what time?
let's talk about what time.
7:15. We have, what do we got, 7:05, 7:10, 7:15?
I just have a question. When it comes to Pinnacle and Wall Street in general, can we move them to the end of the agenda for the sake of the other people who are submitting? I just, it's every time there's somebody who wants to put a pool in, who has to sit through like 40 minutes of that first.
It was probably educational for them.
Sure, and if they
So,
want to stay, they.
So the
Yeah.
deadline for
As public.
scheduling for January 28th is passed, so we won't have any other applications coming in.
Okay.
So
it's
right
just-
now, we have, Sunset at 7, Clarkson Drive at 7:05, Allen Pond at 7:10.
Okay,
So
I
it
just
would
wanted
be the
to
last one.
mention that just because I always feel so bad for all of these, homeowners who end up having to sit through, and if they want to stay for the show, that's fine, but they shouldn't be required to get their 15 minutes in.
Well, we used to schedule, try to figure out a time for each hearing, which worked if everybody showed up.
Yeah.
But then you get somebody who doesn't show up, or they ask for continuance, and then you wind up with a big dead space. So
Yeah.
as a result, we are scheduling them much too close together. But if they do cancel, somebody does ask for continuance, then we're not sitting here twiddling our thumbs.
And it's
It
what-
is an inconvenience to applicants, definitely, all of them, whoever they are. But it wasn't working, trying to space it out and pick a reasonable time for each hearing, so people wouldn't have to be sitting here. So
Yeah.
it's,
We signed up for this, and sometimes it's a lot. And, then you just have somebody who just wants to, filled out all their paperwork and brought everything they needed, and they get the whole show before they.
Yeah, but we don't have a lot of control over people continuing. We also don't have a lot of control over when they want to continue until the actual night of them. There's a lot of things that are not in our control. And also Landis collects these hearings all during the month, right? So she already knew we have Sunset and Clarkson. They're the first and second. But then some of these things are not in our control because the developer
Understood.
can choose a date. We can try to talk them out of it.
I'm new, I just thought I'd bring it up.
But good point. I think one of the last hearings when we had a big project, we did say, well, we're
Said
going
that.
to
Yeah, we moved
continue.
them
You can hold the project and say, well, we're gonna move this one forward
Yeah,
and then move you back, continue it.
We
You can
talked-
continue at an actual hearing, so I-
and we can talk little things in between, like if we've got a 7 and a 7:05, we can make a 7:03 for someone who's gonna come in and out. And we do that sometimes.
So it's good to bring it up,
Yeah.
even at a hearing.
No, I
You know,
think it's a good
there's someone out there who just has a pool, why don't we continue Pinnacle till after that one? So
Yeah.
that can always be brought up.
Well, you'd also set the schedule. The other thing you could do is explain to them that they may be waiting, would they take another date? But usually people, I want my pool in,
I do
Yeah.
that, we do
yeah,
that.
so,
It's always a balance of scheduling.
okay. Anybody have any, what else have we got here? We got an extension? Certificate.
Oh,
Oh,
you're gonna vote?
oh, we had,
Oh, we were just talking about Lou, yeah.
Continuance.
7:15, wasn't it, on January 28th?
Yeah.
Okay, that was motion and seconded?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
600. Okay, we've got, we have a certificate of compliance?
A request for certificate of compliance, yeah, for 643 dash 703 Main Street. That's the Ace Hardware Plaza, where into the
Yeah.
rear, they put in a stormwater trench and repaved the parking lot. So everything's done.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion for certificate of compliance for that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 600, we got something to sign. Thank you.
And then the Hartshorn, we're still waiting for spring, for everything to stabilize. And then we have a request for extension, and that's for the Turner Pond order of conditions that allows us to treat the pond for invasive species and manage it. So we could get an extension for 3 years on that.
Someone make that a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 600. We need to sign that also.
And also under general business, so I was called I got a call that there was an abutter that was noticing fill being dumped at 4 Priscilla Way, which is borders the open space parcel for Wisteria Way 2, and that he was saying that the fill that was dumped in the backyard was overtopping the stone wall, which is the property line, onto the open space property. So, the Conservation Commission holds the Conservation Commission holds the conservation restriction, the CR, for that open space property. So I went out to take a look at what was happening and talked to the homeowner, and there was a fair amount of fill that was being placed in the backyard to look like to level out the backyard, which just was very steep and heading down to the woods. And the fill was definitely overtopping the stone wall onto the abutting property. So I had a conversation, let him know that he had to remove the fill on the abutting property, that fill was not allowed on as per the conservation restriction, and that I would notify the homeowners association that owns the land. So I notified a board member of the HOA for Wisteria Ways 2, and he was gonna forward my letter and information to the board so they could discuss it. They have not gotten back to me yet, but the first line is for for the property owner to enforce their property and also tell the person who's doing the violation to remove the fill. And then if they don't do it satisfactory, then the Conservation Commission can step in more and enforce the removal of the material.
Is also the building inspector.
Right, in addition, I did contact the building inspector because I was wondering if the amount of fill triggered a permit with the zoning board for grade and fill changes. And he believes it does. So he also went out there and reviewed the site and notified the property owner that he would have to remove the fill on the budding property and go before the zoning board.
Okay, thank
Let
you.
you guys know that this is happening, and I'll follow through with the homeowners association to see what they're doing, as well as if any of the fill is being removed.
Right, because,
Also,
so timing of this. In
Yes.
other words, if they only meet like every 6 months or something, that's not enough for this. So some sort of stipulation that we want it done
time.
soon.
Yeah, we'll put a date on it by the end of, by March 15th. Pick a date.
That it's straightened out by March 15th?
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable.
Fill removed by
Yep,
March 15th.
removed and, yep.
Okay. I will send a follow-up letter.
Tree policy, Landis had put something together a while back, and asked if anybody had any suggestions to make to that, and I guess there's nothing, we didn't hear anything about making any adjustments, so
No,
I would suggest we proceed with what Landis has done so far. Is that a separate policy? That's not a regulation? It's not-
right, so it's something that a lot of towns do, they just have a policy, it's not in the regulation, it's been discussed as something that if they're in the process of tweaking the regulations, that they would include, allowance for conservation agents or commissions to manage, tree removal, 1 or 2 or
Right.
3 trees. It's not a lot, it's just, it's, if someone has a tree or 2 trees or 3 trees, probably minimum, no more than 5 trees that are in the buffer zone or the 25-foot no alteration area, and they're concerned they're gonna fall, damage the property, then I would wanna go out there and make sure they had documentation that the trees have been reviewed, and first I usually suggest that they cut them low so they don't fall on the property or the swing set or anything like that, and if they have to come out, then we would ask for plantings after that. But what I was looking for is just a consistent policy, rather than having to explain and deal with it differently every time.
So this would be a recommendation as such, as opposed to the regulation which is supposed to be followed. Regulation, if it's if you make a regulation, don't we have to go to town meeting for approval on a
No,
regulation?
you don't.
We don't.
No, regulations are just, they have to be advertised for public hearing, but it's the
Okay, so
commission
we'd
that
have to
votes
do
on
a
it.
public hearing. Do you want to proceed it that way? Make it part of the
To
regulations?
include it into the regulations.
Is this a public hearing we're doing? No, it isn't, because it wasn't
Yeah,
advertised.
Not advertised.
Okay,
You have to
okay.
advertise.
So, yeah, we should do it with a,
Or you-
no?
Or you just want to have it and
Is this our,
see what kind of
it's a
feedback
policy.
you
I'll
get?
have to look, the way that I understand it is most towns has just done a policy,
A
not necessarily
policy.
included in the regulations, because
I think I agree.
the bylaw regulations speak, so if that would be
I
just the
think-
bylaw, it wouldn't be under, it wouldn't be for everything, so it would
I think
be
you
more
need,
policy.
you need some flexibility, depending
Yeah.
what the situation is. If you go out and you look at something, if we try to pinpoint it in the regulation, then you gotta do this, because that's what it says you gotta do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
think
would
that
stick-
you should have some discretion on, here's our general policy, but
Yeah.
okay, what are you doing? Does that, and if it conforms, fine. If there's an issue, you can
Mhm.
Yeah.
address it.
Right.
So I
I
think we
think
just
it works more
keep
as a
it.
policy until the
Yeah.
Wetlands Protection Act changes their regulations.
And that's what you said replacement policy and guidelines, that's good phrasing. Because that's essentially what you do now, except now you've got it in writing, so you're not constantly reinventing the wheel with people.
Right, and I
Yeah.
just want to be consistent with
Yeah.
how I describe things
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
everyone who asks me.
okay,
I mean,
so
to
you wanna,
remember.
Good.
you wanna vote? You wanna
Smart.
vote to
That's
make this,
smart.
My memory
Pol-
gets worse,
you wanna vote to make this policy?
please.
Okay, someone make that a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
600.
Okay, great.
So,
Um,
now the first one you get's gonna be,
Yeah.
I don't wanna do it that way.
I just want to give you guys a heads up as far as the pond management. So for Memorial Pond, across from Town Hall, we are, Patrick Deschaines and I are working with the Recreation Department. We did get some funding through capital budget, about $50,000, to do some improvements to the park area at Memorial Pond. We had done a plan with the Conway School, and they sketched out a bunch of different possibilities for paths and tables and stuff like that. So most of it is not, a lot of it is maintenance, so the trail that goes from along the pond and out through the woods, we're just making some improvements to fill in some of the dips in the path where it's very rooted, so it's a little more even for people to walk. There's been some of the vegetation that's just been trimmed along the path, so it's a little wider. As you first go into the woods, there's a little peninsula where there's the pines, and they went in there and they took out the thorny bushes, so it opened up the area just a little bit. I didn't have them clear cut it. I said, open up this section, then there's nice trees, open up this sections. And it's real nice because you can go out there and you can actually see the other side of the pond, which you couldn't really see very well. When I went out there yesterday, there was a huge flock of geese, and I could see them going from the far end of the pond over to the other side, walking single file on the ice to get to this one open body of water. It was very interesting because they didn't go 2 by 2 or
No.
3 or 4, they're all single
One right
file,
after the other,
walked along, across the pond to this little open area of water. So it was really interesting. We may put a little bench out there. There'll be improvements to the picnic tables that are out there. They're gonna upgrade them and maybe put another bench. There's if you're out by the pond in the gravel parking lot, there's one area that's kind of a bump out towards the pond. We're going to take the gravel out there and put grass and extend a path to the parking lot and add some gardens and some micro rain gardens. So currently what happens is when it rains really hard, the water comes across the gravel parking lot and goes straight to the pond. And it's taken out the stone dust along the path, deposited it underneath the dock. It's also started to cut around the footings of the dock. So we're just doing little micro gardens to redirect the water so that doesn't happen and the erosion doesn't continue. But it's all geared towards maintenance of existing areas. So we have a maintenance order of conditions from the town. So we're gonna do it all under that. I'm having them write up everything. Been very involved as far as what they can do, what they can't do, erosion control, so it'll be very monitored by me as well.
Nice.
If you see stuff happening out there, that's what's happening. So I think there'll be good improvements, and we're trying to make more of the area around Memorial Pond and Springbrook building on the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
We got the extension, we got the position, we got that.
Nothing new on the enforcement order?
Nothing new on the enforcement order.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Someone want to move to adjourn?
I'll move.
Second.
Are we ready?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.